Jamaica, and we stayed there at my cousin's house for quite a few years. Went to school down there, and then went back to Leeds. I was born in Leeds, Chapeltown. Then went to Jamaica. We stayed there for a couple of years, and then things didn't work out for some reason or the other. And then we came out to live at my auntie's in Sheffield.
And Chapeltown in Leeds is where you still run the club, Subdub, right? To this day. Tell us a little bit about what Chapeltown is like.
Well, Chapeltown is the ghetto of Leeds, or was the ghetto. It's cleaned up now. But I'm really glad that things are happening in Leeds, in Chapeltown area, because it's nice to bring reggae music in the actual ghetto instead of being into town centre where different clubs are and stuff. So where I live in Chapeltown, it's like a place called the Leeds West Indian Centre, and it's been going for years, for a long time, and people put dances on down there back in the days, and it was okay, but it never really worked out to be really a masses, of people. But when we first started down there, we had a crowd of maybe like 60 people. Then it climbed up to 160, 200, 300, 400, and now 1,500. So it's really got popular. It's got popular. Yeah.
1,500 every time, and is it a weekly, fortnightly?
No, it's a monthly thing. We do 2 nights there. One called Subdub, which is the main room is a big room with Iration steppers with a guest sound system, or it could be a guest artist, or it could be a guest group. But that's my room. I control that room for, to bring the artist in who we would like. And we've got another room, the back room, which is dubstep, jungle, dancehall, reggae. It's a mixed bag, the back room, but that brings the massive crowd in. We've got big acts going down there. People might have heard us scream now and Benga, but we had them guys back in the days in there, and they've gone massive now. So, but yeah, it's popular.
And you've had just when you mentioned those guys, I mean, that's one of the things you're also known as with Iration Steppers, as having, or you're often quoted certainly in interviews and journalism about having a big influence on the current scene, particularly dubstep. But I suppose UK based music in general, is that something conscious, or do you look to support it, or?
Yeah, I mean, with the dubstep scene, I've got nothing against it. The only thing that I don't like is the name dubstep, because I think dub is really a religious, a conscious, a mystical name. Dub is, to me, is so mystical. The man like King Tub is a scientist and them guys. Dub means something to me, the word dub. So dubstep doesn't make sense to me because it's not dub. It's dubstep, it's different. It's just a word, but it's the wrong word they use, dub. But the music itself, there's a lot of guys in there that's doing what they're doing and it's working. It's electronic music. It's not like a real music that's being built by guitars and drums and this, that, the other. But it's a music that people love, it's the young people especially anyway, love it. And it's doing its job, So, like I said, dubstep is okay, to a point.
Just call it dub?
No, call it step. So that really, it's just a name dubstep. For the real reggae dub people, dub is a mystical name, it's a spiritual name for us, and every music around seems to want to take a piece of dub. Dub is like something that's underground, and I'm glad it's underground for the main reason that with dub being underground, you have to go out there and find it. And like the masses out here, if you like dub, you'll find it, and it's something. If you really like it and love it, you stick with it. If it starts going overground and it gets commercial, then it's going to lose that flavour of finding something that you really want, So with all, like jungle, dubstep and stuff like that, it's kind of gone overground. So it's very commercial now. There's different genres of it. But dub, like real dub, you find it and you either love it or you hate it. And if you love it, you stick with it, but it always stays underground. We don't need no main radio stations. We don't need no big TV programs. We just find it, you know, and it's like the pirate stations control it. If it's on TV, it's a very short program, 20 minutes, half an hour long, and it's not even about the main people that's been doing it for a long time, you know. So you can only find them things on DVDs, really, you know. So keep dub underground. That's the way I see it. Keep it underground. Let's find it. If you find it, you love it. It lasts longer.
And if you were to describe, like, you know, the characteristics or what are the virtues of dub? I mean, you mentioned mystical and stuff, but as a genre, to define it, or a music style, what would be your?
If I could say it, brilliant, great, wonderful, exuberant. It's something that you just feel. It's like Bob Marley says, when the music hits you, you feel no pain, and it's like. You know, I was going to school back in the days, and I was going through a lot of different musics. You know, there's a punk era, there's Michael Jackson era, there's, you know, James Brown era, all that era. I liked all the music. I definitely liked all the music. But something about the dub, when I heard Burning Spear, and when I heard Culture, Iration, when I heard them people, it's just a mystical thing that went in my body, and I could feel it, just wanted me to dance. You know? But I think that happened from before when I was a small kid, when my mum used to have a big gramophone, an old-time gramophone. It's like this, radio and all sorts in one, you know? And speakers in one, yeah? So, and it was my height, it was low. So I could, little kid, I could just do this and put the needle on the record and be a DJ from small. So it was like that, and it was great. So I put on certain tunes back in the days, and I remember Johnny Clark, a track called Move Out of Babylon. And I remember a track by Max Romeo called Wet Dreams. And that was a funny one to listen. But it was the music. And Prince Buster, all them kind of them tracks back in the days was a big experience for me, for where I am now.
But as a young DJ, you played all sorts of styles. You mentioned Michael Jackson and James Brown. When you started coming up, so we got Little Mark on his
gramophone.
On the gramophone, and then at some point you started playing out. Of course, was that at local dances or?
Yeah, it was funny. The way I started playing now is when we kind of moved back from Sheffield to Leeds, and went to my high school. And in our high school, it was quite cool because we had this lesson called RE. It was called Religious Education, and our teacher used to make us bring our own music to the lesson. So you had a turntable. There had two turntables in the class, and everybody, white, black, Indian, Chinese, Japanese, we all brought what music influenced us. So we used to play our music in the class. So that was our favorite lesson because we could go there and play what music we all liked. And then those youth clubs. There was community centres, and community centres was like youth clubs. So we used to go there. The sound systems there. So the sound systems used to influence us a lot because I never thought I would have a sound system like them guys, and the music was just pumping, and it just something I can't explain what happened. It just inspired me to do what they're doing, and it just happened. I don't know how, it just happened.
And at the same time, you got quite well known or in the early days out of Chapeltown as Ital Rockers, because in the late 80s, early 90s there was a period in English music where I guess you would call it a unique English twist on American house music, and it got known as Bleep, and people know Warp Records, but you had an outfit called Ital Rockers, and Ital Anthem is still considered one of the main or cornerstones of that sound. Yeah. But there was a conflict, maybe. I mean, in terms of those things have a lot of dub in them and bass, but would you see them as dub music? I mean, the Bleep music in particular, it really does put so much emphasis on the bass end, and I think compared to say hardcore, you know,